So I've talked about nonprofit fundraising strategies and nonprofit fundraiser ideas in some of my past videos, but one thing I haven't really gotten into is some of the different formats you can try for fundraising campaigns to bring in dollars for your nonprofit or social impact project. So that's what I'm going to focus on in this video. Welcome or welcome back. My name is Amber Melanie Smith. I'm a nonprofit founder and executive director of the nonprofit that I started, and I make these videos here on YouTube to help people make an impact, whether that's through starting a nonprofit or social enterprise or other type of project. As always, I hope that you find this video educational and helpful. Be sure to check out the rest of my videos on my channel. Give this video a like and subscribe to my channel for more content like this. In terms of fundraising campaigns, fundraising events are a common one we're probably all familiar with. But what about things like auctions and raffles and contests? How do they work and how can you make them a success? In this video, I'm going to cover 9 different types of nonprofit fundraisers that you can do. And that's whether you are helping out a larger organization or just starting out with a new or small nonprofit or raising money for a school or social impact project that's not related to a registered nonprofit. I'll cover what each of these types of fundraisers is, how they work, and then provide a couple of tips to make them successful. But before we get into these 9 types of fundraisers, I have a super exciting announcement. I am really excited to kick off a special partnership with the sponsor of this video, RALLYUP. RALLYUP is the fundraising platform that I've personally used and fallen in love with over the past few years. I try to be really thoughtful about who I partner with, and I want to be able to stand behind any sponsor that participates in my YouTube channel here. So I was really excited to partner with RALLYUP. But wait, there's more. Not only is RALLYUP sponsoring this video, but they are also, as part of our partnership, giving away $1,000 grants to eligible nonprofits. And you know, I am rooting for you, my awesome changemaker audience, to be among those winners. Here's how it works. Complete RALLYUP's super quick, easy grant application at the link. You've got to be a nonprofit or charitable organization, fully registered and in good standing in your country. Your organization has to be able to receive an international wire transfer. Your application will need to be in English or accompanied by an English translation. The RALLYUP team is going to be reviewing your applications and scoring them to choose a winner. So be sure to really showcase your organization's awesome mission, impact, story, and personality. As I mentioned, check out the link for the official rules, deadline, and to complete your grant application. I'll be sure to include this link in the description below as well. Here's just a little bit more about our sponsor, RALLYUP. RALLYUP's online fundraising platform empowers your organization to do so many different types of fundraising activities. You can run raffles and auctions, virtual events, or even live streaming through this platform. You can do sweepstakes. You can sell merchandise through a store. You can run your A-Thons, like read A-Thons, serve A-Thons, walk A-Thons, you name the A-Thon. Donation pages, crowdfunding, and peer-to-peer if you want to equip your supporters to help you with the fundraising. It really has more variety than I've seen in so many other options. But one of the things that really compelled me to try them out a little while ago was that they are actually free. You can participate and use their platform at no cost by just asking your supporters to add optional tips to help pay for the cost of the platform. It's very unique, and I've never seen anything like it anywhere else. They also have 24-hour-a-day, 7-day-a-week support and free marketing strategy helpers who will build you custom marketing assets like banners or emails. Finally, you can do all this through a single URL for ticketing, pre-event fundraising, and interactive live streaming so that sharing your fundraiser is easy. All right, so let's get into these 9 types of fundraisers, what they are, how they work, and how you can make each one a success. As I start to talk through these fundraising formats, I want you to keep a couple of things in mind. First, the COVID-19 pandemic has really amplified how organizations are using virtual and online fundraising. However, we're still hearing that in-person events are very popular. So for each of the types of fundraising formats I'm going to describe, describe in this video, I want you to consider that they could be done virtually or in person, or even as hybrid events with a little in person, a little virtual. Secondly, to prepare for any of these types of fundraising campaigns to be a success, you're going to need to do a couple of things first. One, choose your fundraiser's goals, how much you hope to raise. Two, what your fundraiser's key messaging is going to be. So this is answers to questions like, what does your organization do? What's its mission? How will funds raised help? What is the fundraiser's personal connection to the cause, etc. And three, of course, you're going to want to get a fundraiser set up on some kind of fundraising platform so that you can collect money. And of course, our sponsor, RALLYUP, is a great fit for that. Let's talk about the first kind of fundraising campaign format I want to share, and that is raffles. A raffle works essentially by selling tickets and then drawing a winner from the pool of those who have purchased a ticket to win some kind of desired prize. To get started, obviously you're going to need some kind of prize, ideally something that people really want, in order to encourage people to buy tickets. This is usually an item or service donated to you by another business or organization, something like a dinner or a vacation package. Secondly, you're going to want to choose the start and the end dates for your raffle. Third, you're going to need to develop some marketing language around your campaign to promote your raffle. Things like how to participate, the costs of buying a raffle ticket, how funds help, etc. Finally, launch your raffle with your friends and team members. Make sure to share the raffle with your audience and your networks regularly and create a sense of urgency before the last day, the deadline of your raffle. So a couple quick tips for success. Before you begin, you really want to check out your state or your region's laws around charity raffles. In some areas, raffles are considered gambling, which means that you might have special rules or laws that you need to adhere to in your region in order to be able to run a raffle without incurring any penalties. Additionally, note that some raffles might require that the winner pay taxes on whatever they win, so just be transparent about that in your language about the raffle. Secondly, be sure to use quality images on the raffle pages of the items or services that someone could win by participating. People are highly visual, so this will inspire them to purchase tickets. The second type of fundraising campaign format I'm going to talk about is live streaming. Live streaming is this increasingly popular emerging type of online fundraising. I tend to think of it as almost like a modern take on a telethon. You've got your speakers or presenters or entertainers who are presenting basically programming during your live stream, and people are able to donate throughout. What I like most about this type of fundraiser is its flexibility. You're going to need to have a fundraising platform that can accommodate live streaming, and I know that RALLYUP has this feature as well. To be a success, you're also going to need to create a written plan outlining what this live streaming event looks like. You're going to need a run of show or an agenda saying what happens during the live stream at what times. You're going to need to line up really great speakers or entertainers or presenters. And of course, you're going to need to, like any other campaign, identify what your fundraising goal is. Be really thoughtful about choosing your presenters, because these are the folks who essentially are going to be motivating people to give during the stream. Quick tips for success. The first is give yourself plenty of time to plan. Don't just set it up and hit the go live button and expect to be able to rake in all the dollars. You're going to need time to, as I said, identify your talent, get things lined up, promote this event, and have backup plans in case something happens to the talent that you recruited and there's some kind of emergency day of. Second tip is think of ways to make it interactive. Don't just have a presenter or speaker talk at the audience. You can liven it up and get people interacting with you through things like trivia or Q&A sessions or polls. The third type of fundraising campaign I'm going to talk about is selling merchandise. This is a classic type of fundraiser that could involve selling anything from things like t-shirts to baked goods to services or yoga classes or professional consulting. It could be anything. How it works is super simple. You just choose items, ideally items that you think your particular audience is going to want, and then determine a reasonable price to sell each item at, and then set up your online shop and go for it. To get started, you're going to need a few things. The first is the inventory of whatever it is you want to sell. If it's t-shirts, if it's yoga classes, whatever it is, you're going to actually have access to those items in order to sell them. And the second thing you're going to need is a no hassle, easy way of actually getting the purchased items to the person or people who purchased those things. So if it's a virtual item, you could email them what they've purchased. If it's a tangible item, you might need to arrange a way to ship it to them or even pick up times at some location. And of course, you're going to need a visually appealing, easy to use online shop. Quick tip for success, and I kind of alluded to this earlier, but don't just pick any random thing to sell in your online shop. Think about what your specific audience is likely to want to buy. And if you're not sure, an easy trick is to just ask them. Consider sending out a survey and say, here are, 5 or 6 ideas I have for things we might sell in an online shop to raise funds for our mission. Which ones are the most interesting to you? Just doing a survey is a great way to learn about your audience's interests. The fourth type of fundraising campaign I'm going to talk about is crowdfunding. And of course, the internet has made crowdfunding a very, very popular fundraising method. And how it works is essentially everyone donates and pitches in to reach a specific fundraising goal. It typically involves a deadline that's not too far out and describes the impacts that funds will have. So X dollars raised equals this much impact created. Like, help us raise $5,000 to renovate this room in our community center. To get started, obviously you need a platform to host your crowdfunding campaign, but you also need a solid plan with a big marketing and outreach component. Because crowdfunding typically depends on lots of different people making small to medium to large donations in order to meet the goal, it really works best when your organization has a decently sized audience or mailing list to market to. So work with your friends, your team members, your volunteers to brainstorm how are you going to get the message about the crowdfunding campaign out to lots of people, and also who they might include on a list of prospects to donate to the campaign. Here's a quick tip for success. It might be tempting to make your crowdfunding campaign last several months or a long time with the logic that, well, the more time you have, the easier it will be to raise money. But actually the reverse is true, and I recommend making your crowdfunding campaign no more than 30 days about. The reason is that people are more likely to donate when there is some kind of sense of urgency. So I would recommend spending more time building up your marketing campaign and drumming up excitement before you hit the launch button, and then raising the money in that 30 days will be a little easier. The fifth type of fundraising campaign I'm going to talk about is peer-to-peer fundraising. Peer-to-peer fundraising campaigns are when individuals raise funds from their personal networks or their friends, sometimes on their own or by forming teams. They're similar to crowdfunding in the sense that it involves lots of different people pitching in small or medium-sized donations to reach a goal, but they're different from crowdfunding in the sense that you are equipping each person to fundraise in their own way to reach their own designated fundraising goal to contribute to the larger fundraising goal. Like other campaign types, to get started, you're going to need to identify your fundraising goal and come up with a great marketing plan for your campaign. But one of the most important critical things that you're going to need for a peer-to-peer fundraiser is a lot of enthusiastic, willing team members who will do the fundraising for you. These are people that you're going to designate as fundraising leaders. They're going to create their own fundraising page and set a goal as part of your larger campaign. And then they're going to go out and share their personal fundraising page link with their friends and their networks. Here's a quick tip for success. You're going to want to make it as easy as possible for your fundraising leaders to get out there and fundraise. To do this, you want to provide your fundraising leaders with 3 things. The first is an easy-to-use, customizable fundraising page where they can literally just drop in their own personalized information and start sharing their link. The second is a sort of toolkit including any graphics, key talking points, example social media posts, etc. that they can personalize and share. And the third is encouragement and appreciation throughout the campaign to keep them motivated. The 6th type of fundraising campaign I'm going to talk about is events. As we kind of talked about before, fundraising events can take a lot of different forms. They can be virtual or in person or hybrid, include any number of activities or themes. Events are pretty straightforward, so I'm actually not going to go into too much detail in this video again, but be sure to check out my other YouTube video about how to plan fundraising events for a step-by-step guide on how to do it. I will give this quick tip for success though, and that is to, of course, start your planning early and sit down with your team who's going to be helping you plan the event to work out a step-by-step project planning process of who's going to do what aspects of planning the event and by what deadline. The seventh kind of fundraising campaign I'm going to talk about is online contests and sweepstakes. What's great about contests is that they can encourage social sharing, which is great for raising awareness, not just of that fundraiser, but about your cause in general. For a contest, participants are taking some action for the chance to win a prize. For example, having the cutest pet photo. And for sweepstakes, participants might have the chance to be drawn at random for a prize without having to necessarily purchase tickets like they would a raffle. The first thing you need to get started with a contest or sweepstake is, of course, an appealing prize, something that people want to win by participating. You might write a letter to a local business to see if they would be willing to contribute something, or ask those on your team if they know someone who has something they might like to donate as a prize. 2 quick tips for success. The first is that you want to make sure that you are following whatever rules or guidelines your particular region has around online contests and sweepstakes. Some regions have rules around whether you're even allowed to hold sweepstakes at all, so be sure to check before you get started. Secondly, similar to raffles, you might have to have your winners of whatever the prize is pay taxes on the value of the prize, so that's just another thing you want to research and be very transparent about upfront in your contest rules. The 8th type of fundraising campaign I'm going to talk about is auctions. Auctions can be really fun fundraisers that inspire your participants to compete with each other to see who can donate the most money. Basically, what auctions are is a competition where people raise a paddle or bid increasingly larger dollar amounts for some item in order to be the highest bidder and take that item home. There are 2 types of auctions. Typically, it's either a live auction in which some kind of charismatic auctioneer is verbally encouraging people to bid. You might see, like those iconic pictures of people with auction paddles bidding for whatever it is the item is. And then there's silent auctions in which you might have 1 or more items where people can make their bid silently, usually by writing down what that bid is on a piece of paper, and then the highest bid gets the item. Both types take place over a short period of time, usually can be a couple of hours if it's, a live auction. It could be a couple of weeks if it's a silent auction, but typically not much longer than that. And again, that's to create that sense of urgency so people will bid by the deadline. Similar to some of the other fundraising campaign types I've described so far, the thing you're going to need before you can get started with an auction is 1 or ideally multiple items that you have collected for people to bid on. So you're going to want to be requesting these item or service donations from businesses around you decently far in advance so that you have time to create a nice looking auction webpage or event setup that people will want to participate in order to bid on those things. Quick tip for success: don't set the starting bid for your item too low, but not too high either. The rule of thumb is about 30% of the market value of the item. That way people don't undervalue the item, and ideally you're selling it for close to, if not over, the item's market value by the end of the auction. And the 9th and final fundraising campaign type I'm going to talk about is the A-Thon. A-Thons can create excitement and engagement for people beyond just raising dollars, so they can be pretty cool. A-Thons are these unique type of peer-to-peer fundraiser where your participants are raising pledges or donations by completing some kind of action. For example, the classic walk-a-thon. For every mile Bob walks, his friend Michael will donate $5 and so forth. They're great because they get your supporters active in supporting your cause in a new way, and people tend to get curious and interested in whatever the person is doing to raise the money. To get started planning your A-Thon fundraiser, you need to pick a theme, ideally one that aligns with your organization's mission and values. How great would it be if your A-Thon could not just raise money, but also educate people on why your cause is important? Examples of A-Thons that align with an organization's mission might include the walkathon idea would be a great fit for an organization promoting health. A read-a-thon could be a great fit for an organization promoting literacy. Quick tip for success: engage your volunteers and your team members and your supporters on what type of a-thon they would find most inspiring, compelling. After all, they're going to be the people who you're going to be asking to participate. All right, I'd love to hear from you. Have you tried any of these fundraising campaign formats? What did you think? What's your favorite? What was the most successful? Any challenges that you encountered? Be sure to share in the comments below. And please, please, please don't forget to apply for the RALLYUP grant. I would truly, truly, truly love to see one of my audience members win the grant. It would be super cool. As always, I'll leave the link to that grant and my other resources in the description below. Don't forget to check out some of my other resources, my newsletter and my Facebook group, Change the World or Bust. We've got thousands of folks from all around the world in there making an impact, sharing what they're working on. I'd love to see you there. Once again, I'm Amber Melanie Smith. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you next time.